wanted someone else to make my life happen, and it was just the same feeling as a man, as a director. So I imagined that a man would come and sweep me off my feet and make my life happen, and a job would also do the same thing. So it was really taking no responsibility for anything. I hadn't obviously realised that at the time, but when I actually decided to start writing, also coincided with ending a relationship, and for the next 2 years I was single, and very happily so. And then I met my husband of 23 years when I was about 28, and I don't think we would have connected if I'd still been the person who was waiting for him to make my life happen. He saw me as someone who was making my own life happen, and he thought, oh, wow, that's an interesting woman. Whereas a few years before, he would have seen a very different woman. And so I'm just grateful for that seed of confidence that I had, because you can't really have that unless you have it. And as an actress, it's very hard to feel confident because you're always waiting for someone to say yes or no to you. When I was younger, all the people I knew were very similar to me. Most of my friends were actors as well, and it seemed as if everyone was always waiting, because it is a waiting game. But then, of course, as I moved away from that, I saw there were all sorts of other people. And now I look at my friends' children, some of them as young adults or late teenagers, and I'm so impressed with the way they seem not to be waiting so much. They don't seem so romantic. I was always romantic, thinking that something. Or I was in a hurry, I found a diary. I'm nearly 21, what's going to happen? I was like, gosh, my son is 19, but I don't imagine he would be writing that diary. I don't know, I think I was particularly like that. Also, my friends seemed also to be particularly yearning for some future.
Did you always want children?
Yes. Since I was 3, that's my memory.
3?
Since I was 3, I remember wanting children, and I never was sure if I made that up, but my daughter, she was only about 3 when she stopped in the middle of the street and said, I can't wait any longer. And I said, what? And she said, for a baby. Either you going to have another baby, or, I can't wait. And I did have a third child when she was 6, but she was obsessed, just like I was. So really, and she has the names lined up, and very similar. I think it's really interesting. Some people just have that kind of fantasy about creating their own people to love. I think that's what it's about.
Now I look around here and I see you. That's obviously your home, and you've obviously built a life. You've obviously taken charge and made your own opportunities. What would you say to your 25-year-old self?
What would I say to my 5-year-old self? What I would like ideally to say is it's okay, it's going to be all right. But I don't think it would have necessarily been okay and all right if I hadn't have had the anxiety that it wouldn't, which propelled me into seizing hold of my life and making it happen. Because it wouldn't have. And I saw a lot of people when I was growing up whose lives hadn't happened. That's how I saw it. Felt like in the 60s and 70s there were a lot of people who seemed so lost. And I was scared to be those people. And so I felt quite concerned, even at 5, that I needed to make a plan. And at 5, my plan was to be a tightrope walker in the circus. I practiced. I was so unfitted out for that. Not suited at all to being a tightrope walker. So I was already making plans. I had quite a lot of career plans, and then at 13 I thought, I can be an actress. That just seemed absolutely ideal, because I was keen to leave school as soon as possible. I was uninterested in writing essays, going to university, and I thought I can begin on that career really soon, and I started at 16. Because the thing about acting is it is so much about perception from somebody else. So you get very caught up in how you appear, which really doesn't lead to any satisfaction. And you're right. It took me a long time to realise, after a year or two of writing, I didn't care how I looked. It was how I felt that mattered to me. And then one day I was walking down the street and I realised that for years I'd walked down the street and imagined that people had seen me as somebody unemployed. Oh, poor her, look, she hasn't got a job, or she's only got one line in that play, you know. And I walked down the street and I thought, inside there's all this confidence and excitement because I have a secret story that I'm building. But I didn't care if anyone noticed or not, because it was there inside me. So when you're confident, you actually don't really care what anyone thinks of you. It's when you're not confident that it matters so much. The young women that I see and that I know, because I have a 19-year-old son and he has these lovely friends, and I have some goddaughters in their early 20s, I'm sure they have problems that they're facing, but they seem much more confident than I was. I'm full of admiration for them. They don't seem to be so bothered about whether they have a boyfriend or not. They don't seem to be in so much of a hurry. But then what problems are they facing? I think probably the speed of life, the fact that it's very rare that someone just has a lost weekend of sitting, chatting, playing cards. Your phone is beeping, your computer is, you know what everyone's doing. There's probably pictures of your ex-boyfriend on holiday with his new girlfriend. I don't know how I would have coped with all of that. I really got a lot from those strange lost periods in my early life where I just had time to be bored, to think, to like go on a long walk with a girlfriend and chat, and now it's bing, bing, bing. I think it's not good for the brain.
So being bored wasn't that bad after all.
Well, it bred a lot of interesting things for me. I think we're all scared of being bored, but I look back and see as quite important phases of boredom in my life that really moved me on, but people aren't bored anymore because there's no time.